Let's first do the pledge. Let's see. Me?
Oh, sure. Attention to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. Oh, I guess I should have said calling the meeting to order at 11:50. Roll call, please. Oh,
Everybody's on.
Dean Schlottman,
Here.
Diaz,
Here.
Logan, Williams,
Here.
Winfrey, Butler.
here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, great. Can I get a motion to approve minutes for October 10th, 2024?
Motion Williams. Second Diaz.
Roll call.
Schlottman,
Yes.
Diaz,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. There is no old business. New business, I believe we have a resolution supporting an enhanced will ride program, providing transportation for the elderly and those who have physical impairments. I know,
Go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry, I thought you had your hand raised.
No, sorry.
So, we haven't reviewed this, so let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm opening up the floor for anybody. Oh, okay.
We talked about?
Yeah.
Okay. So County Board Member Butler, our Chair Butler of this committee, presented this resolution. I know that it contains a lot of information, so the intent was to put it before the committee so that you could have an open conversation in regard to the likes, dislikes, breaking it down maybe into multiple resolutions, getting rid of things, but it would be a forum where you guys could have that open discussion and not be in violation of the Open Meetings Act.
Yes.
I like in the resolve where it says that the enhancement of Will Ride program as a primary transportation solution for our elderly residents and those with physical impairments. Are we also trying to expand it to other people and not just those, or this is the primary concern?
Well, I guess that's for the committee, but I thought we were just trying to expand on what we already have, which is just for that. And I don't think I have anything in here about age groups, but I think that when listening to Pace, when they were talking about trying to open it up for a wider group of people or for different uses, that it was going to require more participation to kind of pay for it. So this is pretty much more a service for, our vulnerable community.
So, yeah, I was gonna say, so we're kind of just sticking with, I think this is a good place to stick with right at this time because the funding for it
Right.
will get. I mean, it's gonna cost money if we keep pushing it forward, like to everybody.
Honestly, if there's a call for it, I think Pace should be the first organization to
Yeah, that's
open up a
true.
route, like we're ready. So I just wanted to point out in here, one of the, when we did the surveys and stuff, that one of the main concerns were the elderly people that had to schedule a doctor's appointment, and then they go to the doctor, and then the doctor's office was crowded and it took 2 hours instead of 1 hour. Then they had to wait 3 hours. And so, I just thought through the use of like some private carrier, like, Uber or somebody, we could make accommodations for those people, at the doctor's office to have an Uber come pick them up and take them home. And Uber does have like vehicles for handicap accessibility
Mhm.
or ADA compliant. And that would be a good option for them. And honestly, that was the main concern. people didn't have a problem with scheduling and doing all that stuff. It was just being left at a doctor's office for 3 hours after they waited actually like a few hours just to
Mhm.
get seen.
And I know that is a big problem with PACE. Now, of course, I live in Lockport Township, so with Lockport, whatever time, they pick them up, they call. Cause my brother actually drives for Lockport Township and, if they get done early, they just call him and say, I'm ready. And then he just goes and picks them up. So, my concern is though with Uber, do they have such a program? How much would that be of our money that the county would have to invest?
Yeah, and that we need to explore more.
Okay.
Mhm.
They do have like the ability to have ADA compliant and be able to pick those people up. And then as far as working with us, that's something we have to explore. But I had put in some dollar amounts that I thought were feasible, and a budget that I thought would work, but we.
But we don't have an
We'll
actual,
probably negotiate
right,
or work
okay.
something out.
there's no actual budget for it.
Right. But I definitely feel strongly that we should provide this for the people, because I know that in my community that
useful.
I represent, there's a lot of elderly
Mhm.
people who are literally dependent on grandchildren who are busy.
Right.
And they
Work
can't
or
get
whatever,
places, so, and that's hard for them.
I agree.
I have a question.
Mhm.
We're under, whereas each township will match up to $5 for each service. At that point, my question has to do with what about townships that are not gonna need this? Like Sherry's and mine, Joliet has their own private PACE vans right now that are wheelchair
would.
handicapped. Are they still gonna have to pay for it even
No,
though
I
they're not
mean, so
accessing?
basically with
So we
that,
need to allow them to opt out?
well, actually, what I think that was referring to, and maybe I didn't make that clear, was the Uber ride back.
Okay, so if someone needed an Uber ride okay, so then they would get billed $5 route for each direction. Okay,
Yeah, like the Uber would have to be compensated somehow, and that might be a little bit more, but I think that alone would make so many people happy, like maybe in Lockport where they have more active busing, they could recircle around and pick people up, but like out in, Will or even in Crete, it's,
Yeah.
you don't have that much, so it is a long way.
like in Wilmington too.
Yes, I
Yeah.
was just gonna say
Correct,
Wilmington
yeah.
has.
Those
yeah.
areas would be like, oh, we'll be back in 3 hours.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So yeah, we should probably clean that up and make sure that.
Okay.
it's, Um,
This is a lot of information to digest then.
yeah.
and I wonder if it needs to be broken up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
Yeah.
we could do whatever and maybe the next meeting go review it, further.
okay,
But I was just trying to get something out there,
start it off, I get it.
I'm sorry, did you want to write? Yeah.
In reviewing the proposed resolution, it appears that the intent is to enhance the current Will Ride program by offering additional services specifically for doctor's appointments, et cetera, by utilizing Uber or any type Lyft or whatever. So in looking at this document, I think that you could probably take out any of the, for lack of a better term, negative statements regarding mass transportation and put forward only the positive statements towards what your intent would be. And I mean that positively, like there's no need
Yeah.
to mix it all together. For instance, taking out, if you go to the bottom of the first page, the bottom 3 whereas paragraphs, you could take those out and
Okay.
leave all your positive ones above it. Just kind of to,
Well, what about this, and I don't.
Again,
mine's
this
all
is
on
just
one-
a suggestion.
Mine's all on one page.
oh,
here,
okay.
So I don't know where that is, but are we talking about, like the last three phrases in the
So-
statement?
No, like where it says,
Up
whereas
right.
there is a growing preference among constituents for enhancing and investing in existing local services rather than adopting new mass transportation. Whereas the implementation of centralized mass transportation system would impose additional costs. Whereas financial stability and funding mechanisms of RTA, those aren't, they're true statements, but they're not necessarily needed to promote what you want to do.
There you go.
Copy, Dan.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause mine was all one. page.
Sorry.
It's all good.
I was like, the
And
one-
leaving in the positive things like utilizing a share service such as Uber for medical appointments and treatments could serve as a practical solution that you want to explore looking into, and that Will Ride program aligns with the community needs. Those are all positives towards what you want to achieve. Just a thought. Did you need copies? Is that what you were looking for? Oh, you can't have one.
I would have grabbed you one.
I'm fine with removing that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that'll cut it down.
That
a
cleans it
little
up.
And I'm trying to see where else, because it is just long.
bit. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm fine with it too. I don't look at it as negative.
No, I think.
I
she's just-
know, I understand. Yeah, she's
just
trying to,
Saying that, in general for the public, they may, just, especially if your family works for RTA or something. So, so.
be it further resolved. And I don't disagree that it should be this way, but I think it makes it difficult when you say no waiting period exceeding 30 minutes. There could be weather, traffic. You know what I mean? Like the ability, I don't know if we can give it a time frame, but maybe just say like the least amount of time possible.
Reasonable.
You know what I mean? Right. We don't want them waiting 3 hours, but I don't, my children tend to think that I am the fastest Uber out there. You know what I mean? And sometimes, buses or, I'm done, come get me.
So,
Well, you're waiting maybe 35, you know what I mean? I don't know if we can
we'll keep,
guarantee that.
so I just want you to think about this. So it's not a matter if you schedule your doctor's appointment to be, dropped off at 12 and picked up at 1. It's not a matter of, hey, I was ready at 1 and I waited 30 minutes to get Uber and they're not here yet. It's more like they Uber or your bus came and it left because you weren't ready. So if we.
So
if we
maybe-
start there, meaning that,
Meaning-
if you called back up and you said, hey, can someone come pick me up like in Lockport? And they're like, yeah, we can have somebody there within 30 minutes. Then they would do it. But if it's gonna be more than 30 minutes, then we'll authorize the Uber. That's what I meant to say, that's what I was talking about.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I
So we need
wasn't
to-
saying that.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Right,
an
yeah.
alternative would be to add then,
Yeah.
if the
Right.
case couldn't do it, then we would use the alternative such as Uber, Lyft.
Right. Because if they could come back, like, you know, what you're saying,
Yeah.
then they will, you know, do
Yeah.
it and save the money.
Okay.
Now, I have another question now that we're talking about that. So let's say they take Pace to get to the doctor's office. Then let's pretend they went and saw an orthopedic surgeon because they're always late. So you had a 12 o'clock appointment, but you know they're always late. So you told them, don't come back until 2 o'clock to get me, but you don't actually get out of there till after 3. The busing company says, sorry, no, we can't come. We're done. So now you're gonna have to, we're gonna get an Uber sent to you. Is the township now gonna get billed for that $5 because the busing company couldn't?
Well, no, that's the whole idea is that if you miss your window and you're elderly, that, you know, if they can't get back there in 30 minutes, if it's gonna be 2 hours, the enhancement of the program is to add that other, you
The
know,
cushion.
avenue, which is
Okay.
the Uber ride, so they don't have to wait, because, you know, it might be hard or uncomfortable for them to wait. You know, I mean, take it from a guy who wears a
I-
girdle all day. Sometimes it's uncomfortable staying in one spot.
And that example that I gave, at, let's say 3 o'clock, it depends on where you're at.
Right.
But the busing company's like, sorry, no, we can't come back because we close at 3 and you're
Or
calling
there's-
at 2
right,
minutes
there's
to
no-
3.
right,
There's not
There's
5.
no way to get
Yeah,
there. Or
that's-
they've
So
got
now we're
other
having to lift.
schedules.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that extra lift would then be billed to the township. That's what I want to make sure we get in there then, if we're gonna do
And I
that.
think what I had was,
Somehow.
it was, you know, it was.
I know I'm kinda making it messy.
No,
No, no.
In my brain,
What?
I, I think she was talking to me. I said, I'm
Okay, I
kind of
was-
making it a little messy. I need to figure out the wording. Or where it would say,
That it's,
follow township policy or however we want to put it. We can
well,
figure
it's,
this out.
it would be the county would have a fund in my plan, the county has a fund, and they both kick in
There-
$5.
Okay. Okay,
I don't think it would be a fund. I think it would be similar to the way that Will Wright has previously been set up in the past, prior to the changes that recently took place, where the townships would receive billing from the county.
Okay,
there you go. Okay,
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 So basically, we're paying for it, they just reimburse us.
right.
Mhm.
okay.
And I think, again, if I'm understanding correctly with the discussion, it's more that if the waiting period will be more than 30 minutes, more than 30 minutes for regular transportation for the Will Ride program, Uber will then be contacted. Or let-
There you go. That's a better
That's a
cleanup.
better way.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we
Yes.
have her for.
Thank you. This is.
True
Clean it
statement,
up.
Yep.
true statement.
We appreciate
We
you.
do, yes. That makes,
Okay.
so, and maybe there's a way that this is already happening. How are we going to get the county to actively engage with the local doctor's offices to make sure that this runs smoothly? Like, what is our, because that almost seems like a different plan of attack.
Well, that I kind of got from Janet, you know, she was talking.
No,
about-
I don't disagree that it's a good
That
idea. I
was,
just,
like the best place to leave flyers and stuff like that, because
Right.
those are the people that are using it and stuff like that. So, I mean, that would just be a matter of getting it to those different offices and distributing it, you know, the information.
And I
If
think
those-
Colin probably could.
we could do that. Okay,
Yeah,
I just wanted, like,
exactly.
what are we, yeah, what is the,
To those agencies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like somebody
offices
going
as
in
to
there.
how these People are arriving.
Right.
And what the limitations are on their ability. to
because I mean,
go.
I've seen people dropped
Please
off
get it to
going
your
somewhere,
home
right?
healthcare companies. Get it
Yeah.
to doctor's offices, get it to senior
The
services,
physical therapy.
physical therapy places,
Yeah.
because these are all places that these people are going to. You know, they might want to go out once a month to the nice fancy meal at lunchtime for senior service. And it might be the only time that they get to eat with other people because they live home alone
Mhm.
and maybe play a game of cards. That might be their big 1 month a deal.
and
So
that
it
is
is a
That's
very
a
big
real
deal.
thing.
Oh, it is.
It's a real thing. And that
Mhm.
was things that, you know, like I said, these people are like, they feel like totally like trapped, like they have to
Mhm.
depend on their grandchildren to come by to just take them to the local place to have lunch, you know?
My brother has a 90-year-old rider who weekly gets her hair done.
Okay.
So she goes to her beautician and he takes her every day and actually she tips him. So he's always like, don't give me money, but she does tip
can't
him
help
too. Right. But yeah, he said she's 90 years old, gets around pretty good and she has her standing appointment.
Yep.
So, you know, it just makes her, and then she doesn't have to rely on her family. Cause you know, sometimes they feel bad about having to call family to do stuff too.
Right.
This way they can be more
Yep.
independent too, so.
I know ladies who will get all dressed up, they do their hair, they go looking for earrings. It's almost like going out on a date when we were in high school, how they are about going to these senior luncheons. It's kind of sweet and sad at the same time, because they're so excited.
Yep.
Any other thoughts or things you want that maybe Dan had included, or I think Nat and myself, we could go through and pair this down, what we've discussed here today, but
I think we're addressing pretty much everything.
And I like that we're gonna give a telephone number, even if they don't have cell phones, the doctor's office has a telephone that they'd be happy to let them use. They'd even make the phone call for them. So I like that. That we're not doing an app.
Right.
Seniors cannot handle it.
I mean, if they
No.
want.
Some can, but-
So I know, but
Like
for
my
the
dad
most
wouldn't
part,
know how
I
to use
think
an
that,
app.
yeah. We'll be expected to when we're seniors.
I know.
Well, I am a senior, but yeah, it's like.
You're a young senior.
I know, even when they call me with Medicare stuff and they like, well, do you have somebody doing this and this? I said, I'm on the Will County Board. I'm an active senior.
Mhm.
Yeah, you guys are, yeah, I don't need all of that stuff. I already got it. So. But I like that, you know, this is something that the county can provide, you know, for our people. I like that.
And I'm hoping Lyft and Uber can actually do this.
I was
they
gonna say,
can.
have
I
we,
think they
have we
can.
discussed this with Lyft and Uber
It's
yet?
hard to discuss with them because they're all apps and stuff,
Yeah.
but.
Right. Is
We
there,
read some different things that, you know, at least we knew they were ADA compliant and that they had vehicles that were set up for that. So that it is possible. And then I will try to get a hold of somebody.
okay, I mean, I think that's a conversation that
Yeah, that's probably the
is
most
going to
important part to
drive
make
this,
this happen.
yes. Yes.
Okay.
So do we need to fix any of it, or are we voting on it, or this was
I
just?
think we're gonna, like, I don't know if we're supposed to comment and come back with some
Yeah, I
corrections.
was gonna say,
We're gonna
maybe
have to.
I
let's
think-
discussion for now.
Yeah,
maybe.
okay, I didn't know what we had,
And then
Yeah.
once we pare it down and.
yeah, I think that's, okay. Okay,
that's what I would suggest,
yeah,
instead of trying to
yeah, there's too much in there now.
Yeah.
come back with a condensed one, and then you can make additional changes or additions
Mhm.
that you would like, and
Okay.
then you could move that forward.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Well, that being said, let me go back. If there's no other comments, right now, we'll just move on. that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, so we have no other new business. Do we have any public comment? Oh,
She's been waiting.
all right, a public comment.
A person.
Just press the
press
person.
Yeah.
It looks like.
Yep.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm all over.
Hi, I'm Kelly Hickey. I am Wheatland Township trustee. And I have done some work with our transportation in the past. I'm not necessarily up to date because I've been coming to Will County board meetings and they interfere with the PACE monthly meeting that we take part in. But we in Wheatland are part of RIDE Page. So I've sat through some of the meetings with PACE. We have actually set up Uber as a vendor for PACE.
Okay.
So you don't have to go directly to Uber. It is set up as a compensatory vendor
You're
within.
talking about like through our current, like our dispatcher could.
Yep.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, yes, they get,
Pace
they
works
get,
with them,
yeah,
okay.
PACE works with them as a vendor to pick up people. I do have a concern. I don't know how you're qualifying people as having physical impairments. I don't know what method you're using to address that or how you're determining that. I do think that there is a huge audience, and I understand we're talking about cost here, but there's a huge section of people in our community who have developmental disabilities and other issues where driving is not practical for them. And maybe sometimes it is, but it's not practical for long distances, highway, whatever. There are also people, those are people who are needing rides to work, to jobs
So
that will allow them to
Are you
buy
talking about-
homes.
physical and mental impairments,
Well, it's not mental, it would be a developmental disability.
does that, but that's not physical. Is
It,
that what
not
you're saying? Okay,
necessarily. There are
okay.
physical
I was
aspects of
trying
it.
to, I was wondering if I should include that, but I didn't know how it would.
It could also be someone with severe
Epilepsy.
epilepsy where they've lost the ability to drive.
But that,
That
yeah,
could
that would
be-
be considered a medical reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, how do we say that then? Like, if we, want- we'll talk about. that.
I say we give it,
Right.
this time to, and then convene,
Right.
come back and to put that in there. Because
Okay, I'm
again,
sorry.
I
Finish
understand.
your comment.
Yeah.
No, I'm concerned here where, you did have it delineated for these two different groups. Maybe there are two different groups, maybe there's overlap, between the elderly and people with physical impairments. But it looks like the only group that you're concerned about being picked up in a timely fashion is the elderly.
It would be for everybody.
It would be-
Okay,
well,
okay.
It would be
say
for
it like
everybody.
that, but it
Yeah.
wouldn't
Okay.
come to-
That's
All right.
one of
I
those
wanna make
things we would-
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, because there are, in talking to our PACE clientele, there are huge issues with after they finished at the doctor or dialysis, they have to go stand on the curb.
Mhm. That,
And most of the benches were taken out apparently during COVID at a lot of the places. So there are a lot of concerns with people just having to stand, even if they're young and have just had dialysis. So I just would encourage you to think about those populations and think about this because independent transportation is transformative. It really does change lives. And I have an adult son who has to go from Naperville to Lansing, Illinois every day to his job, but he has a job and he pays taxes. And, it's important that he be able to get there on his own. He was an emerging driver when he got the job a year and a half ago. He is driving independently now. He even bought his own car. So sometimes these are just short-term fixes for people, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be people that are just going to go on some kind of roll and you are now providing all of their transportation. It can just be a stopgap measure too. So please think about those things. I really appreciate the chance to talk to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other further public comment?
Can we have a little more discussion on that?
Oh,
A little
okay.
bit? Sorry, because.
We're
what
gonna
Ms.
back
Hickey-
it up.
Sorry,
and do
because,
business.
sorry. No, same topic because it's something Kelly brought up. Like I have a student who she's gonna age out eventually, very soon,
Wow.
actually, out of our programs. But she's never gonna be able to drive because her limbs are disproportionate. She's got one is shorter on her arm and one is on her leg and they're not the same side. So she's never gonna be able to drive. So something like that, it's a physical. But when you first look at her, you're like, there's nothing really wrong with her until you really think about it. Because she walks and she's so upbeat, you almost don't notice it until you really are paying attention. And then we have people with Down syndrome who may not be able to drive. So I see where.
I do too, and
it's going.
I say, I know, we want to help as many people as possible,
Right.
but sometimes I think when we implement programs and start off, we
I know.
can't just bite off the big chunk at once. It has to be done responsibly and it has to be done gradually. And
Get
that's
it.
just the unfortunate nature of things. You know,
I know.
you know, you have a home and you're like, man, I want this room to look like this and this room to look like this. And I know we're talking, but it has to be done gradually because,
Word paint.
right, right. So as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, but I think there does need to be,
So you're just talking about like where we say, the existing Will Ride program has proven to be essential and effective transportation solution tailored to the specific needs of our residents,
yes.
particularly for seniors, individuals who have physical impairments and
Developmental disabilities.
Yeah, I think that, to me, disability encompasses. the
I
whole
do too.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
So
okay with
basically,
disability.
disabilities.
Right,
Yeah,
because
then
you
we
could
can-
be-
then we'll-
So scratch-
Criteria.
And
Stretch,
to the public comment
Physical
with the,
impairments and just.
like,
disabilities.
stopgaps, you can have a disability for a short amount of time.
Right.
You use it,
And it-
you know,
it
you're
should be-
single, you can't get somewhere, and then your physical therapy's done and you're off
Did
to
you
driving
want
again.
to,
So
Correct.
those types of
scratch those
things,
three
yes.
Paragraphs you were talking about, make this
Yes.
correction and send it out
Like
for
when
everybody to look at, or you?
when I was 21, I was hit by a car. So I temporarily was disabled
Sure.
while I went to physical therapy. As soon as I was done with physical therapy, I
And you
got
were
back
released,
to,
right,
yes, I got back to driving and getting back to my life.
right.
But I was on pause for 9 months.
Right, so,
So-
you're right.
So, I asked Kim if she could just take out those three paragraphs, change that one paragraph, give it back, and then just kind of start toning it down, and then you can make your
Sure.
corrections and everything.
There you go.
Yeah,
Sound good?
Yeah,
I like it.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Second, Williams.
All in favor?
I, Dan,
Motion-
you're gonna have to remove.
All
Oh, go
opposed?
ahead.
No one's ever opposed. All right, did I say something wrong?
No, you
No,
didn't.
you didn't. I think you're good. All right.